Morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. We are back out on the job. Had a little bit of a short week last week. Had some family in town. It was my niece's birthday. So we are back down here on the farm project. We're going to be down here all week and got a lot of stuff to do. We've got 3 main projects that we've got to get done. We're going to get 1 done today. Actually, we've got 4. I don't know if we'll get to, definitely won't get to 1 of them this week. We're going to get 3 of them done this week. It's my goal. At least we shall see. It's Tuesday. I got totally rained out yesterday. It literally peed rain from 9 to 5 all day yesterday on Monday. So, but I've got a fun, brand new, fun little toy for us to check out today. And we've also got to get some other equipment ready to go. So let's take a look at what we got. All right, check this bad boy out. I got the hookup on this. Look at this. This thing is brand new. It has 1.9 hours on it. Look at the teeth. Nobody has even used this thing yet. It is very rare that you get a rental that nobody has used. That Herc literally just got these things in stock over there at their rental yard. I think they got 2 or 3 of them. And this is a Bandit, I believe. I think it's a Bandit. If I can find. Yes, it's a Bandit. There it is. I knew it was on here somewhere. And it is a 40 horsepower gas-powered stump grinder. And it's got a Kohler. Well, it's 38 horsepower, but they would consider this a 40 horsepower class stump grinder machine. So it's got a Kohler Command Pro engine in it, 999 cc. And yeah, I'm excited to try this thing. I've only ever run the Barretto one, which was a 30 horsepower, very similar to this on tracks, but a little bit different setup overall. So I'm very excited to try this thing. So what we're going to be doing today is, if you guys remember the job where I took down all these pesky gum trees in here that the owner hates, he's going to turn this into a garden. He got the other guy that works out here that helps take care of this place to come through here and kind of clean up all the smaller underbrush stuff. They got all that out, so it's looking real good. Most of the trees, the little water oaks and stuff he wants to save are in here. But these gum trees, so these gum trees are not dead that I've cut down. These are basically weeds that grow into trees, and just because you cut one off the stump doesn't mean that kills it. So we're gonna come through here and grind them all up. There's probably about 18 or 15, 18, 20 of them, something like that. They're not very big, so I'm hopeful that this stump grinder is gonna grind them up. I may go and take my chainsaw, we'll lop them off and a little lower, and I'll throw those cores off into the woods and they'll rot out. And also the talk, we gotta mow all the ditches this week. The talk had a dead battery. It was completely done, so I came down here Sunday to get it ready, and so we're gonna get the new battery installed, get the brush cutter hooked up. I went to 2 different places on Sunday to look for a battery, didn't have it. Finally got one this morning for that, so we'll get that ready to go. So let's get to grinding. Battery in here. I have a screwdriver in my hand. I don't know. Wait, I gotta get that out. Okay. They said this was the right battery. There we go. Oh, DJ is not a mechanic. Okay, I finally got these rods to go where they're supposed to go. That one nut on the one on the back side wouldn't break, but I finally got it. Try to tighten these down so they'll keep this battery. This system sucks. That's about the best I can do. Stay. All right, I think that's gonna work. That's pretty tight. All right. Got positive on the positive. I may need a wrench to get that one. Gosh dang it, that little wrench is hot. Negative to negative. All right, let's see if she cranks. Tamaguchi. Like a glove. Where'd it go? All right. Okay. Oh. right, well, she ate that stump pretty good. I'm happy. So I'll kind of do a review on this one compared to the Barretto I've run. Because there are a few things I like, a few things I don't like compared to the Barretto. I'm not the best with one of these I've run. I think this is maybe the third or fourth time I've ever run a stump grinder, but they're really not hard to use. They're not super complicated, but yeah, that worked really good. So got a little pine stump here, and then we're gonna work our way back. Well, folks, we're done. That didn't take too long. And did a pretty good job. So, turned everything right down into little bitty pieces. That's what it's supposed to do. So, very happy with that. That was grinding those stumps was really our best option. Ripping them out with that little Takeuchi would have, some of those were pretty big, just would have not worked well, and then you probably would have ended up damaging the roots of some of these other trees that we're trying to save. So, but that worked out well, all ground out. There's two little ones right there I did not grind because they're very close to those trees. I didn't want to damage the roots of those, but I'll lop those off with the chainsaw as low as I can. But they're really small. I'm not too concerned about those. But this little garden area is coming along. It's looking pretty good. So, let's take a look at this thing. So overall, pretty impressed with this machine. Would I buy this machine? I don't know. Probably not. The Barretto 30 that I rented, I really liked. And then they also make Barretto also makes a 37 that I haven't used, but is probably more in the class of this size machine. A couple things about this machine. I'll tell you the one thing I do like, this thing's got power for days. I did stall it a couple times, and I'll get into why I think that happened a little bit. Well, part of it is I don't run stump grinders every day, so that's part of it. But it does have really good power. It spins this head really good. This 38 horsepower engine does a great job. I'm gonna take the blower really quick and blow this thing off before I put it on the trailer. But it's a couple things about it. One, it's really long. The Barretto is not as long as this one at all. I don't love the length on it because it has a really short track base, and it will go, you know, forward and back. It'll get tippy on you front and backwards really easily. Another thing is I wish the tracks were, I mean, I know these things are designed to go into really tight spaces, and I get that, but this thing is still really small. Because it's so long, I feel like the track should be out just a little bit to give it a little more stability. I wish they were, because I mean, it's still, even with that, I don't know if that's even 3 feet wide. I haven't measured it, but I doubt that's even 3 feet, you know. So this thing, even with some wider tracks, would probably still go just about anywhere and fit into any little spot. Another thing about this is with the Barretto that I rented, I could tell this isn't even close. The swing on this one is not very wide. It doesn't have a wide swing. The Barretto would come back almost like square to you, like it had a huge reach. And that's really beneficial when doing bigger stumps, you know, because they're wider. So you can, with that Barretto, you can go right up the middle of the stump and pretty much get everything back and forth. With this one, I think with a bigger stump, if you were doing, you know, 50-inch stumps, you know, bigger stumps, you probably have to, you know, move this machine around a little bit more to do that, because the swing definitely isn't as wide. It doesn't have as wide of an arc on the swing as the Barretto. And I'll check the specs on that, but I mean, I remember that Barretto had a huge arc, and I think it would go deeper too. It didn't seem like this one had a really deep, you know, it wouldn't go very deep in, you know, as far as the depth either. I'll check those specs, but it didn't seem like it had the reach, you know, left to right and then up and down as the Barretto. Another thing about this thing is, holy moly, the hydraulics on this thing are super fast. They are super quick. This thing is extremely touchy, almost to the point where it's, you know, not even really fun to move around. I mean, the hydraulics, I mean, you touch the hydraulics and this thing just, it's very jerky. Even the controls for the left and right and up and down, and I think that's what got me in trouble a couple times, because, you know, I'm moving this thing, and if you just move it just a little bit, that thing will go poof, poof. I mean, it'll move so quick. And when you're doing these stumps, especially with these gas powered ones, you know, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You know, that is the name of the game with these gas powered stump grinders. You want to be able to just make minute little, you know, when you're going back and forth, just very slowly let it eat, and then you want to make little minute increments up and down, you know, really down, you know, to adjust your depth, and then keep eating, and then make a little bit, and then when going forward, going into the stump, you know, just touch the controls a little bit, move it forward a little bit, let it go back and forth, move forward. And this thing is just herky jerky all over the place. The hydraulics, you know, as far as the tracks and the head control really need to be turned down, you know, probably 25% or so, maybe somewhere in that ballpark. It's just, it's too fast. It's too fast. It's too jerky. And, you know, I would move that thing and I'd move it too fast and it would eat into something, you know, just a bit too fast and stall it out. I stalled it out probably about 5 or 6 times. And that happens with these gas powered ones. They just don't generate the torque sometimes, you know, and if you eat a little bit too much, they'll stall. That happens, but overall the power was really good. But I think I like the Barretto a little bit better. That's my personal opinion. I think it's got more reach, up and down. I think it's got better swing motion, left to right. Again, I'll check those specs, but it seemed like it did. And the hydraulics on the Barrettos were way smoother, way smoother than this one. But it got the job done. And would I rent it again? Hell yeah, I'd rent this thing again. I've been trying to buy one of those Barretto 37s. Casey, the owner over at CCE, has been trying to get me one ordered, because I really would like to get into doing stump grinding as part of my business. And I really like that Barretto when I rented it, but I want the 37 that's more comparable to this size as far as the power. Yeah, I would definitely rent this again if I needed to grind some stumps until I can get my hands on my own stump grinder, because it works. I mean, it does a good job, you know, nothing wrong with it, and seems like a well-built unit, you know, nothing as far as how it's, you know, I don't think it's a piece of junk or anything like that. Do I think there's some improvements to be made? Yeah, I do. But the engine's solid, Kohler engine, solid. I think this gas gauge is wrong, because I was grinding and I didn't even notice it, and it was all the way down to E, and I had to go down to the gas station really quick, and I was like, man, it's on E. I thought I left with a full tank, and then I went down there and filled it up, and it only took like 6 gallons, and that looks like a bigger tank than 6 gallons, but it took 6 gallons and filled it right to the top. So I think this gas gauge is a little off, you know. So if I, you know, even when I filled it all the way up, it was only like maybe around 3/4 or so, you know, on the gauge. So I think that's a little off, which kind of sucks. It comes from the factory with a bad gauge, you know, that's not good. But all in all, I think it's good. So all right, I'm gonna load this thing up. We'll get it back today. That'll work, and then we're gonna be back tomorrow. We're gonna start mowing ditches with the talk, and they're gonna bring me 8 loads of fill dirt for a big culvert project. That's why I got the dump truck over here, by the way, because they cannot, where we got to take the dirt, we cannot get a triaxle back there. But hopefully a little guy can get back there. It's a little wet, all that rain we got on Monday, so I'm gonna mow ditches for about 2 days, and then hopefully we can get that taken care of, get all that dirt moved back there and get it graded and get that pipe put in. So all right, I'm gonna load this thing up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out of here. Bye, everybody.